Birthdays today: Paul Stephen Rudd, height 5'9", was born on April 6, 1969 in Passaic, New Jersey. His parents, Michael and Gloria, both from Jewish families, were born in the London area, UK. He has one sister who is 3 years younger than he is. Paul traveled with his family during his early years. Because of his father's airline job at TWA, his family eventually settled in Overland Park, Kansas, where his mother worked as a sales manager for TV station KSMO TV. Paul attended Broadmoor Junior High and Shawnee Mission West High School, from which he graduated in 1987 and where he was student body president. He then enrolled at the University of Kansas in Lawrence, majoring in theater. He graduated from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts West in Los Angeles and participated in a 3-month intensive workshop under the guidance of Michael Kahn at the British Drama Academy at Oxford University in Britain. Rood helped to produce the Globe Theatre's production of Howard Brenton's Bloody Poetry, which starred Rood as Percy Bysshe Shelley. I recently watched Anaconda, which is fairly fresh from 2025. He was in the well-advertised Only Murders in the Building, a series from 2022 to 2025 with Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez, with also Tina Fey, Meryl Streep, and Nathan Lane. Charles, Oliver, and Mabel, three eccentric neighbors, find purpose and chaos in solving murders that hit close to home through their true crime podcast, turning their New York apartment building into a playground of mystery and mischief. Evidently, he put a lot of work in along the road getting to this level of fame recognition, starting with not terribly high star ratings, but in 1995, Clueless was given a 6.9 star rating. Paul played Josh. Alicia Silverstone and Brittany Murphy were principal players along with Stacey Dash. Shallow, rich, and socially successful Cher is at the top of her Beverly Hills High School's pecking scale. Seeing herself as a matchmaker, Cher first coaxes two teachers into dating each other. Clueless is celebrated for its witty satire of 90s teen culture, clever adaptation of Jane Austen's Emma, and iconic performances, especially Alicia Silverstone's portrayal of Cher. Common themes include social standing, high social drama, and character transformation. Criticisms often point to reliance on stereotypes, predictability, and the controversial romantic subplot between Cher and her stepbrother. Despite mixed opinions on its depth and lasting impact, Clueless is frequently praised for its humor, style, and cultural significance in the 90s. Zach Braff is another birthday boy on the 6th. He may have come to the attention of viewers with Garden State, as it showcases his impressive directorial debut with stunning visuals and authentic coming-of-age themes that resonate deeply with millennial audiences. The universally acclaimed soundtrack and strong performances, particularly Natalie Portman's career best work, elevate the film significantly. However, opinions sharply divide on the writing quality and dialogue, with some finding it witty and intelligent, while others criticize it as pretentious and cliched. Engagement levels varied considerably, leaving some viewers captivated, while others felt disconnected and bored throughout. As we just passed through Easter, I'll look back on the Passion of the Christ and reflect. Many viewers were apprehensive because much was said to criticize the film's unflinching brutality. Certainly the film evokes intense emotions. One reviewer says James Caviezel has the immense task of embodying the most important figure in human history. The reviewer goes on to say, the performance that really stood out was that of Maya Morgenstern as Mary. The pain she conveys through her large and expressive eyes is heartbreaking, as she's forced to watch her child endure the most unimaginable suffering. Yet throughout the film, she maintains an almost luminescent beauty, entirely befitting the Mother of God. Director Mel Gibson brings the last day of Jesus to the screen. It is after the Last Supper, and Judas betrays Jesus to the authorities for 30 pieces of silver. Jesus is arrested, beaten, convicted of blasphemy, and sentenced to death. Roman governor Pontius Pilate sends him to King Herod. Herod sees Jesus as a fool and releases him back to Pilate. Fearing a revolt, Pilate offers a choice to the crowd between Jesus and Barabbas. This is a relatively literal interpretation of the Passion Play. Mel even uses Aramaic. It's expertly made and delivers the material. For true believers, this is heaven. Every whip mark is felt. For non-believers, this is a good representation of the text. The chorus of complainants had to charge Mel with accusations of anti-Semitism, but many fans were appreciating and commending the picture as totally perfect. There are many Catholic fans of this picture who share the particularly unique perspective that their religious theology preaches. Of course, there are other denominations of Christianity that don't have the exact same opinion or interpretation. However, the film is a tough, gritty, face the facts kind of work that is alarmingly unable to revel in any solution to the problem of human cruelty and extreme hypocritical insensitivity. There are definitely rich, powerfully influential Jews in Hollywood who might represent a problem for this difficult period of strong disagreements over actions currently going on in the Holy Land. Amidst all these religious meditations, I thought of sad things like the loss of Heath Ledger, who was in that famous film Patriot, in which Mel Gibson had the star acting role of peaceful farmer Benjamin Martin, who is driven to lead the colonial militia during the American Revolution, but a sadistic British officer murders one of his sons when he was attempting to rescue his brother Gabriel, played by Heath Ledger, after he had been captured and sentenced to hang. Having focused on some serious Mel Gibson work, I think I'll double down on that and look at his whole career so far in brief to try to take stock of all the times when he seemed successfully impressive. Of course, we have to come to terms with an aging process showing up even when we take supplements and exercise, trying not to manifest any negative aspects of the years going by. I'm not sure how accurate the IMDb star ratings are, but I'm considering them as a guide. Nonetheless, they can pump out entertainment and movies quicker than most of us could hope to consume and offer personal responses and critical appraisals. Evidently, actors can get to enjoy a lot of fun over time. I'm thinking about the mindset that operates in deciding what will go over well and be a big hit with audiences. Flexibility can be essentially necessary, but there are times when firmness and strictness will unquestionably be the prime choice of technique required. Absolutely. We're at a stage now where many commentators are talking about invoking the 25th Amendment on a crazy president whose thought processes are disparaged and disavowed for lack of depth, foresight, and general merit. Wild movies do not allow a full, thorough presentation of the whole common body politic and the hardships regular working people are facing as the insane president unleashes a violent phase of serial bombings to destroy and kill what seems to include many people whom he claimed to care to try to save from a mad, crazy Ayatollah. The real likely loyalties of Iranian people are not likely to drift idly over to a dubious, greedy American businessman president from their old traditional religious roots. Certainly, Iran could be possibly more complicated than Iraq, but hopefully we can get extricated from Trump's madness. I believe it is better to have a good array of options, but then you need to process quickly in order to not get overwhelmed or fogged by being totally spoiled for choice. The decision making at rapid, swift sequence will hone the mind for calculating likely optimum performance. The desert scene from Mad Max reminds me of some Star Wars scenes. This planet has some unforgiving, inhospitable environments. This is one of the healthier looking scenes from 1985 Beyond the Thunderdome. Fit, young, and sexy. What could be better? Tina Turner said, in America, people just saw me as a black singer, but in Europe, people looked at me as a rock singer. She was, of course, the acid queen from Tommy, 1975 rock musical. Tommy knew his father, Captain Walker, mainly through the photograph which has stood on the nightstand next to his bed all of his young life. His mother, Nora Ann Margaret, a war widow, has shacked up with Uncle Frank, a well-off and well-intentioned but rather low-brow gentleman, Oliver Reed. One night, Captain Walker comes home to find his beloved wife in bed with Uncle Frank, and Uncle Frank, in a panic, kills him. Tommy witnesses this, and Nora and Frank expand the trauma by shouting silence and near catatonic autism into the young boy with the classic lines, "You didn't hear it, you didn't see it, you won't say nothing to no one, never tell a soul. What you know is the truth." So Tommy grows up in a state of trauma-induced deafness, muteness, and blindness. Guilt and sincere love drive his mother and her new husband Frank to seek every possible cure, and Townsend and Russell waste no opportunity to skewer religion, medical science, traditional family dynamics, and testosterone-influenced views of sexual rites of passage. Eventually, Tommy and his mother will find their own cures in quite unexpected places, and Tommy will offer his apparently miraculous awareness to the rest of the world as a universal form of salvation. So this little psychosomatically blind, deaf, and mute boy becomes a master pinball player and subsequently the figurehead of a cult. Reviews for Tommy. It's not for everyone, but definitely it's worth a watch. The performances, music, and images made an impression on me. Tina Turner's unforgettable as the Acid Queen, who promises to make Tommy grow up. Anne Margaret is better than I ever remember her being. She got a Best Actress Oscar nomination and won a Golden Globe as Best Actress in a comedy or musical. Roger Daltrey does well in his first movie. Jack Nicholson, as the specialist, has a better voice than Marlon Brando. Oliver Reed's singing skills are debatable, but he acts the part well. The music is good, especially Tina Turner and Anne Margaret's songs and Elton John, who sings Pinball Wizard. A film way ahead of its time. My older brother bought an LP, The Who's Tommy, in the 60s. I was very young, but I liked it. It was a project ahead of its time. In the 70s, I had a fantastic music teacher who played music soundtracks of several rock artists for my class. Included was The Who's Tommy, which I remembered immediately. 3 years later, this movie came out, directed by Ken Russell. I didn't get it at all. I love the new soundtrack, still do. I loved the performances in the movie by Elton John and Tina Turner. But as a young teen, the movie I didn't get. Well, 20 years went by, and on cable I saw Tommy again. This time I got it. I understood what Ken Russell's vision was, and for 1975 it was way ahead of its time. It is in fact a brilliant masterpiece of 20th century pop culture. A brave, warped, and cartoon mixture of sex, violence, war, religion, and celebrity worship, with the backdrop of one heck of a rock opera and story by The Who, but focusing on the burning questions. What is the central focus in our lives? Do we choose to look up to the right thing in our lives? And what do they look up to? Do they understand the power they have? Do we? Tommy is an experience in film. Not for everyone. It's out there, but a vision in its tail. Mel Columcille Gerard Gibson was born January 3rd, 1956 in Peekskill, New York, USA, as the sixth of 11 children of Hutton Gibson, a railroad brakeman, and Anne Patricia Riley Gibson, who died in December of 1990. His mother was Irish from County Longford, while his American-born father is of mostly Irish descent. Mel and his family moved to Australia in the late 1960s, settling in New South Wales, where Mel's paternal grandmother, contralto opera singer Eva Mylott, was born. After high school, Mel studied at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, performing at the National Institute of Dramatic Arts alongside future film thespians Judy Davis and Geoffrey Rush. The British authoritarian period, such as seen in Mutiny on the Bounty and also later in The Patriot, proves to be a popular route to kick against, but authoritarians in other languages are definitely not any nicer. After working his way up through the Australia period, he went on eventually to really make bank in a huge big way. He was the first Australian actor to be paid $1 million for a film role. In early December 2004, he flew to Fiji, where he bought the 2,160-hectare island of Mago from a Japanese hotel chain for $15 million. He plans to turn the Pacific Paradise, which is home to 40 residents, mostly coconut farmers and their families, into his own personal retreat. The South Pacific island boasts 2 lagoons and stunning white sand beaches. The sale was finalized in March 2005. Wanted to be an actor after seeing Maverick on television. Owns a production company, Icon International, with branches in the USA, Australia, and the UK. Ranked #1 on Forbes 2004 Celebrity 100 list. He was the highest paid celebrity in 2004 with a reported $210 million salary from his The Passion of the Christ 2004 profits plus a potential 150 million that is yet to be accounted for. He made more money than Oprah Winfrey, $210 million, J.K. Rowling, 147 million, Tiger Woods and Michael Schumacher, 80 million each, and Steven Spielberg, 75 million in 2004. Trademarks often acts and directs stories involving an individual who is persecuted and fights for justice. Has often portrayed a widower in films such as Mad Max, the sequels, Lethal Weapon film series, Braveheart 1995, The Patriot 2000, Signs 2002, and Edge of Darkness 2010. Often portrays men who seek revenge for the murder of family or friends. Rugged chiseled features, rich gravelly voice. Piercing blue eyes, often plays angry or deranged characters. Intense acting style. He was voted the 48th greatest movie star of all time by Entertainment Weekly. Voted the most powerful Christian in Hollywood in a poll by religious website BeliefNet.com in October 2007. His performance as Mad Max Rokitansky in the Mad Max trilogy is ranked number 78 on Premiere Magazine's 100 Greatest Movie Characters of All Time. Braveheart 1995 is ranked number 62 on the American Film Institute's 100 Most Inspiring Movies of All Time. Quotes, I like directing much better. It's more fun. That's all there is to it. It's essentially the same job, which is storytelling, but you have more control over the way you want to tell the story. It's a high. I love it. I did a lot of crazy things, so I'm surprised to be alive. On his decision to cut a scene in which Caiaphas says, His blood be on us and on our children. Soon, Pontius Pilate washes his hands of Jesus. I wanted it in. My brother said I was wimping out if I didn't include it. But man, if I included that in there, they'd be coming after me at my house. They'd come to kill me. Asked whether the Passion of the Christ would be offensive to Jews today. It's not meant to. I think it's meant to just tell the truth. I want to be as truthful as possible. But when you look at the reasons Christ came, he was crucified, he died for all mankind, and he suffered for all mankind. So anyone who transgresses has to look at their own part or look at their own culpability. Past viewing experiences have influenced what we expect from media entertainment. There are some filmmakers who look at dubious things, perhaps exploring what is considered by the masses to be risque. Gus Van Sant comes to mind, but also Rob Reiner when we think of River Phoenix. These days, we cannot ignore how much his brother Joaquin has carved out a big career for himself. I'm certain at the very least there are many artistic precepts, some of exceptionally high quality. We need to be sure that our class cannot be downgraded. If anything, we need to be upgraded. Sometimes we can spare moments of meditations for those who do not carry on with us in this continuum of life. The lessons learned are strict with some harsh results for those who are unable to conform. The arbitrary nature of experimentation in pursuit of superior results benefits from the wise guidance of past experiences. I keep wondering about the effects on our world society and results to the people and their children of some of these creations, which can enrich successful creators enormously. As a creative artist myself, I believe we need to think quite deeply about true justice. The image of martyrdom may not be helpful when raising innocent young kids. We can present excellent educational programs, as I believe we definitely should. The shock factor titles seem to stir up a lot of consternation, stress, and general perturbation. Gus Van Sant was coming to attention for his directing in the 1980s. My Own Private Idaho became like a cult pop film amongst his music videos. Even Cowgirls Get the Blues with Uma Thurman and To Die For with Nicole Kidman next among more music videos. An odd juxtaposition of Good Will Hunting with Psycho and then Finding Forrester. A nasty, cruel school shooting movie amidst David Bowie, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Kurt Cobain, John Mayer, and Chris Isaak. Paris and Mexico, non-professional actors, and international film director short films stitched together. Sean Penn as Harvey Milk and Kelsey Grammer as Mayor of Chicago. Tension in Promised Land over fracking tragedies. A TV miniseries championing gay rights. A drunk driver who crippled himself creates cartoons as a therapy. Rob Reiner, 1947 to 2025, was getting busy in the 60s doing acting roles in lots of different TV series. Born in the Bronx to Estelle LaBosse Reiner and Emmy-winning actor, comedian, writer, and producer Carl Reiner, they tributed him as the coolest. Let's just take a quick look at what fun was like in the old days as he was coming up. He did an awful lot of writing and a good fair bit of producing as well as all his acting roles. Rob said that his co-star Carol O'Connor couldn't have been more different from Archie Bunker because he cared about the little guy. He shone a light on bigotry, ignorance, and hope. Rob was best friends in high school with Richard Dreyfuss, whom he directed in Stand By Me 1986. A Few Good Men, The American President, Ghosts of Mississippi. Some of his directing work achieved popularity or iconic status, and some works were more critically acclaimed than others. Bucket List was a Sunset Years themed picture. He went out with Spinal Tap 2. The End Continues. Check back next week for an exciting new fun study of the state of play.